Howdy, everybody, and welcome to Drawing Things with Lord Fish. And if you'd like to follow along today, I'm using the Windows 3D Paint. It's free on Windows 10. If you're on Windows 11, you may have to download it. And if you're using a better program, that's completely understandable. I'm sure you'll still be able to use some of these tips and methods in your projects. To get started, what we got here is a white canvas, and we're going to go to our canvas right away. I don't know if you have this option, but we're going to make our transparent canvas, and this is a pretty important step. So if you can follow along, I would advise to do so. All right, and if you're here typing in the background, this is a working office. This is our gaming studio for Queenfish Games. So just understand that we got works to do. Many works, probably. Let me adjust my mic, hopefully that's alright. We're going to just start off making a circle around the size of a head, and obviously this is just going to take you step by step on some of the methods you can use to make art projects. I'm also going to start by making a neck piece, so we're just going to adjust some of these bends so we can have a more straight up neck. It's a little more direct, a little better. We're going to stamp it, we're going to drag it over here after, and then we're just going to take this and highlight it with our square, and we're going to rotate it. And again, if you're using a different program, I don't know if you're going to have these options. You may have to freehand it, but that's what I'm going to do just to make it a little more symmetrical. And I don't want to have too thick of a neck, but I look like I went a little thick on that side. You could always adjust these things after, but we're going to have to complete our drawing to do that. I will show you how. I'm going to do this. This is going to be like a shirt lower collar line, basically. So adjust it accordingly, make it nice and even according to how you want to make your character. And again, this is just a basic outline of how you can do these things. You may want to change a lot of these things as you go. And if you're still using the video for help, just pause it until you're ready to go again. I'm going to do something like that and give them just a collar line like that, just to give a shirt a bit of more detail when we do give them a shirt. Don't have to follow these, and you can adjust all these lines if they're too thick, too thin, whatever. You just probably want to keep them all about the same for if you want to adjust your drawing in size or anything like that. It shrinks in proportion to each other. Go to the coloring wheel. I'm going to just select this color. This is the color I usually use for skin. You can use a different color, obviously. It's completely up to you. Do something like that, and we could change these colors after. Maybe we'll actually change that last one. Just make it green. In this program, if you are using Windows 3D, you can adjust your colors and make custom colors if you have an idea what your character's colors are already going to be, for example. So we'll move on, though. So what we're going to do is try to make a shoulder, some kind of shirt line, depending if you want to make your person a long sleeve shirt or short sleeve shirt. You're just going to have to kind of adjust accordingly. What I'd normally do too is I'd try to make a sleeve. This guy will say he's wearing a t-shirt, and we can change that after, but just for now per se. We'll do that, and we'll drop it over here, and we'll just pick it up again and flip it. We got a proportionate other side to add on, like so, and it looks pretty in proportion. I'd imagine you'll agree with that. So we'll make a couple more adjustments. So we're probably gonna want to. We're not gonna be able to use that. Use a bend and try to find a comfortable line to make the resting point of his arm, and not have his armpit too high or low. And again, you can adjust these things after. If you make a mistake, you can always go back up top with the undo, or you can just paint over it or erase it. I do a lot of that, and in art you're going to end up doing that a lot. So just accept that you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay, and you just make sure you fix it. Ooh, I feel like that's a little off, but I don't know exactly. We'll just try it there. And we'll do the same thing for we have proportion. If we have to change this later, we will. We'll just kind of hold it in the same area and drag it over until we get it to about the same spot, right about there. something like that. Doesn't have to be exact, but the more you keep in proportions, usually the better it's going to look overall. Okay, we may have to make some adjustments. I don't like the way this looks, but let's just get this main body done and then we can make some adjustments. And again, this is just an example. On your actual designs, you're probably going to want to spend a little more time customizing it, changing things, but just get it done just for the example, or we can get to some more of the fun parts. And if you didn't notice, I like to image everything. It just saves the artist a lot of work and keeps your things a lot more in proportion, like that. Since it was straight up and down, I didn't really have to do it over or anything like that. So let's do a 4 point here. I really like these curves because it really makes it easy to change the shape of your character. If you wanted to make them a little heavier towards the belly or something like that, or even a little skinnier towards the belly, or a hip shape, you can easily do it with these things. The only thing I'd do is maybe up here, I'd just adjust that, give that more of a gap. And when we're happy, we'll slap it there, we'll turn it around like we always do, because that's what we do. And you can find your sweet spot. I think his stomach's a little too skinny, but you can always adjust that. Let's just get the basics done. Yeah, it does look a little funny. Gave him too much of a hip. I guess if we roll it into the hips, it'll be all right. And as you can see, we're not going to have enough room for the legs after. So what we're going to have to do is finish the top, and then we'll make a big adjustment. So what I'm going to do is just go over the line with something I like a little bit better, like so. And just move this one, like so. Anything we don't like, we can just erase easily. May have to adjust this to get into the corners a little better. And if you go over your other line and make it too small, it's better you make it too small than too big when you're fixing things like so. Because it's easy enough to just replace that line real quick and get it all fixed up. But if it's too big, it's harder to erase those little bits. So we'll go a little too far, and we'll just fix these. And I'm just doing this more as an example of how you can quickly fix these things. And as you can see, it's no, let's not adjust it actually, because we're going to shrink a bit. And I think that's better than the other one, so we're going to go with that. We'll just get it in here, fix it up a bit, something like so. And there, we got some nice clean lines for it now. And again, if the shoulders are out or anything like that, again, this is mostly an example. So we'll go fill the shirts real quick. All right, so we got our shirt basically done. Now would be the time to add some extra detail if you want to try to make your character's shirt a little more stylish, whatever. Something like that. Just got little sleeves. Have a little more detail. Put a little design on the shirt if you want, whatever. That's the point. You probably want to do that, and you're probably going to want to save at a certain point too, but let's give him a hairdo first. We'll give him a custom hair color. And again, on my drawings, I usually end up erasing things 50 times and drawing over them, but I'm just trying to get it and give you a basic idea before we can move on. So give him a cool hairdo. Let's see. Something like that. Make sure most of it's covered up. Give some little drawny down hairs down there. Just getting a text from my son. All right. So here's some more tips for eyeballs and things like that. A way that you can do it, be able to add just a bit more detail, is if we do it off to the side like so, and say we take this one, and you can tell that's a little too thick, so let's thin that out, try to even it out for the eye. And you know what, before we do that, actually, let's color it the same color as skin. I'm on the wrong thing. And we'll do that to give it a little more. Actually, let's go back to, because we're going to shrink it. We'll go over here, drag that across like we were talking about. Now would be the time to add like eyelashes and things like that if you're going to. So you're going to make a really detailed anime character or something like that. And just drop this in. Let's see if we can do this a really easy way. That's so small. Okay, let's do it a different way. Let's do this. Something like that. Go in and have a better look before we don't make it too big. There's a little bit of a gap around it. Now we're going to go change the color of this because most eyeballs are not just black. So let's go brown. So do that. And we'll just grab that color like so. Now we've matched that color. So then when we do that, it's all good. You can see there's a little bit of leftover. So let's just clean that up with the marker. And now we're going to do the same thing again. Obviously you can't see it because it's black or brown on brown, but adjust it like so. And there we have a pretty detailed eye. Looks pretty good. Now let's try to shrink it down. While we're still in the 2D shapes, we should just be able to drag and highlight it like so. And then we can copy it, paste it. And this is part of the reason we use a clear background, because you're not going to be able to do these things if you don't use a clear background. All the color around it is going to affect it. There you go, a perfect eyeball. No, I'm just kidding. So now we just need to shrink it down to the size. And you're going to see it's going to lose a bit of detail the more we shrink it down, and that's why we didn't make it too big, because we would have lost too much detail shrinking it down. So if you want to make it even a little smaller with that much detail, this is the more detail you can add in after. Eyes usually match around the height of an ear, so I'm going to say about there, I'm going to guess. And if you want to be exact, actually place it here and copy it or cut it. And that way when we paste it, when we add our eyes on either side, they're the exact same size. So if we paste this again, we already know they're the exact same size. So if you want to be super right in proportions, there we go. And as you can see, it doesn't look too bad. We got some nice eyes on this guy. He's a handsome little fella, isn't he? Let's match his hair color again. And we'll just do that because we made a custom color. Now you can see we've highlighted the right color. We'll take a marker and give him some eyebrows. Give him a little bit of class. Maybe we want to make him a bit darker to kind of stand out from his hair more. So let's do black, or brown, sorry, but let's take the transparency down to like there. So just kind of still see through to the main color, but it's a little more see-through. I went a little dark there. Yeah. And again, I probably should have took it a bit more time. Let's go back. That looks bad. Let's just do him brown for now, and I'll go back. And we'll go a little bit more this way. Let's see. It's hard to match, just guessing. Yeah, I think that's something a little better there. Oh, I have my transparency down again. If you don't have a background color, you're going to need one unless you're trying to do a transparent color. You could just mess with the opacity to get the right see-throughness amount you're looking for. Alright, so again, we'll pop a nose on. This you're probably not going to be able to make off at the side. There's many ways to do noses. You can do a little Simpson nose. You can do a regular human nose. You can do a little tiny nose. Do what feels good. I do different every time. Something like that. And you can do a little more side-to-side nose. This is the one I like. It's kind of easy. Easy throw on nose. Something like that. For the mouth, we're not going to put it on yet. Let's cut this out here. Don't really need that anymore. We got our eyes on. Actually, let's paste it. Let's shrink it to around the right size and move it over here in case we want to change our eye movement. That way, you could make a version with his eyes shut just by painting over his eyes, replacing them with an eye that you've now made shut. Really easy. That way, if you want your character to blink during talking or whatever, it's going to make it that much easier. Alright, and again, we're just making an example, guys, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on his shirt or anything like that. You're going to have to design your own clothing. But I will go a little more into detail on his arms, which we're going to make a bit thinner. Like that, I think. So, all we got to do basically is make one arm. And we'll be able to mimic it to the other side. But let's see, it's going to take a second to do that. And shape it right. I'm trying to get a little bit of a thumb and a forearm. Something like that. Seems a little big, actually. That's what she said. Maybe like that. Anyways, you're going to have to play with it for a while to get it perfectly shaped, and it shouldn't be a big problem, though. It's pretty easy to do. So I'm going to come down here, just try to give this more of a finger shape, a natural shape to it. Come over this way. And again, you're going to have to mess with these to get your perfect finger shape. And with cartoon drawings, most people do a 3-finger animation system. It's just a little easier. Hands are really hard to do, and so that's going to depend on your art ability. If you're able to do hands fine, I would do a 5-finger, but I tend to stick to the 3 fingers these days. So we'll do that for now. And again, I'm not going to make you a perfect one because I'm going to take more time on my own, but just to give you the idea, we'll try to make it look okay at least. And it's going to be a lot of maneuvering these shapes if you're using 3D art to get the exact same shape. Keeping in mind the middle finger is the longest. That's why we extend it the most. I don't know about that, but something like that. And I'm going to stamp it for I can reuse the shape after. I just want to make sure it's where I want it. A lot of the time they overlap like that. I think we can just use this one again. And this finger is going to be smaller, so we're going to go like so. And maybe move some of these a little differently. So we're going to be coming out of the hand now. And again, this is going to depend on your art ability. But you can always Google something if you're having troubles. Hands tend to be kind of bigger when they join the wrist, they tend to shrink. So something like this. Obviously, I got little things out of place that I need to adjust now, but I'm not going to take too much time on it for I can get through the video to help you guys. And remember, if you're stuck on a spot, just go ahead and hit the pause button for a few minutes. You're going to get through this. It's just going to take a little while. And again, so much moving around and just making sure it's in the proper spot, but the more time you take to do this stuff, the better it's going to look. Something like that. I'm just going to stop pissing around now. Alright, and then I'll take this guy. Hopefully I'm going to miss my character here. I didn't want to cut into the side of him, obviously. Something like this. Bring that up. And something like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you can always go over it and refix it after. But we got to get a basic shape and we got to finish the edges on it because otherwise when we color it, it's not going to color right. So let's see what we got here. It looks pretty good, I think. And again, so we're going to take this arm, we're going to shrink it to proportion. So we'll cut it, we'll paste it. Just take it to what we want it to be. Again, I know I could have took a little more time on that. And let me think. I think this would be on this side. He's got some pretty ghastly arms. I get this. This is very ghoulish. But with just a little bit of maneuvering this stuff around, I'm sure we can get the proportions a little bit better. Yeah, that looks bad. I think his fingers are a little long. But anyways, you guys get the idea. I'll just give you the idea. I don't need to make this perfect because I'm probably not going to use this. All right. So say that's what I want now. We're just going to drop it over here, actually. And we're going to take this. I'm just going to copy it. We're going to keep a copy over there. And the reason being, because you're going to take more time on your hands, is that every time we want to change the position of this person's arms or hands, it'll just be easy enough to just rip another one off, move it to the position we want, put it in place, cut off the end, fix the color, and now we have a version with his hands this way. Oh god, I should have done better on those hands. I just hate doing that. But let's just move forward. These look like zombie arms, but so here's an, we'll get it done just for the example for you to understand how easy this could be to clean up. So do one of those. Should just be able to paste again, and you know how to spin it around. So that way we have two of the same arms, even though they're bad ghoul arms. Something like that. So we're going to take our old edge, right like that, and just maybe shrink this down so it's about the same size as the other parts. And right where his shirt would connect, we're going to go right through his arm. Just like that. No problem. And then we will grab the color, we'll dump the color, grab the marker, and clean it up. And as long as you don't ruin these edges on the side, you won't have to redo the line. And if you want to go in there with an eraser to just clean up parts like this, you can just put it on its finest setting and go right in there. I think this will be good enough for us for this example anyway. And easy enough. We got it all cleaned up. And there's a new arm position. I guess we still need to fix his shirt. But again, super easy. We fixed it in seconds. That's how I would do it and move his arms around that way. I will show you one other technique on how to do it. And just match those. Okay, his arms are so bad. He's got no elbows. But alright, let's just use it as an example anyway. So say I wanted to not have to clean up. I could. Oops. So let's just click up here for a second to get rid of the square. I think this is the only way to do that. And then there's nothing selected. Now when we select, we can just select the hand basically. And go very carefully like that. And we can cut it. And we can paste it. And if we wanted to turn it now at this point or do something else with it, be easy enough. Add an elbow here. Let's try that. Just for the example. You see that's a little thinner, so just match it. And it does look a little bit better with this elbow from here at least. And then you just got to clean up your edges. You see there's a little bit of a line through here. And this stuff does happen when you're doing this stuff, but as long as you learn how to clean it up real fast, it usually doesn't make a big difference. I should have done that. There we go. This is blank down here. Right. Real easy. It's a little big. But see, we left a little edge here too. Let's get rid of that. Know what to do. There we go, we've got kind of an elbow now. But it just makes it that much easier to move your arms around and your legs around, things like that, and change the angles or what you want to do with them. And we could also do some open surgery now too. And we could remove this. We could copy this. And if you're talented enough, we've now just replaced his entire arms with just a tiny bit of cleanup. So they're now going in, and he now has elbows. You know how easy it could be. Those look so bad, but you get the idea. And we're just going to go back here. See how, there we go. Just for example. All right, so that's as easy as it could be. The mouth the same way. You probably want to make a mouth over here, place it on your guy to make the item that you want to copy, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. Let's finish up this bad character as an example, and we'll show you the next part of how we're going to be able to do one way of placing him in a scene. So let's just make it quick. Oops, that's another way you could do it. I guess that's fine. I'm just going to give him some big parachute pants just to get this done real quick. Looks bad. That's better. And again, place it, highlight it, rotate it. It's really easy to do this stuff, and once you get the hang of it and you kind of get used to it, you save yourself a lot of time with these little tricks. Enough room? I think we will have enough room. Probably want to fix this a bit and make it more like this. You can see when you get a line perfectly straight too, it looks a bit different. You can see how straight it is. Something like that. And we'll do something like that over here. Let's just fix our pants. And again, you want to color your pants before you go ahead and start adding details, because the details are going to leave little gaps when you go to color it after. So it's blue jeans, so we'll just throw this color-ish. Bam, blue jeans. Look at that. Take some time to make it the way you want. If you want to add some extra details, now's the time. Do something like that. There, he's got some pockets, you know, things like that. You get the idea. Or we could, oops, let's go forward one. Go back and add him a belt if you want, per se. Could work on making a little belt here. Let's see if we can pull this off. But the more detail you add to your character, the more real they tend to look, and the more people tend to get attached to them. I'm in the wrong set of colors. I don't want to add 3D colors, that's for sure. That's just going to cause problems. There we go. And let's make them a little belt buckle, say. We'll do that, and we'll make it gold colored. All right, he's got a little belt buckle and everything. Look at that little fella. All right, and what we're missing is a shoe. There's a few different ways to do shoes, sometimes on an angle, sometimes forward. Depends on how you like to draw. The easiest is probably going to be forward, but let's try it. So we don't want to make it too far off the real scale, because when we shrink it, we're going to lose a bit of detail. So we're going to thicken that up. Let's make it black, because then we can fill the colors after. And just make it look like a shoe as best as you can. If you need to Google an image to help you with your design, and just take your time. I'm not going to, because I'm making you guys an example, and I'm not going to make you wait. Well, I take my time, but you get the idea. Something like this, and then let's see what I can do with this. So that would be like the front of it, and we'll give it a little flare up right there, like a tongue and stuff. Something like this. Straighten this out. And you just want to make sure it's all straight. I've got a bit of an angle to everything I've got to fix, because we're going to use it on both sides. It's going to look out of proportion if we're too far over on one side. I think that looks good. Looks like a shoe to me. Let's just give it some colors. If you disagree, make your shoe more like you want it. I'm just going to give you an example, like I said. So we're going to make a base color, and I don't know, we'll make them gray. Something like that, right? We're going to grab it, and again, should be more detail on this, but I'm just giving you an example. We will copy, and we'll drag it down and shrink it down, and let's have a look how much room we got here. Not that much, so let's maybe shrink it down this way and then drag it out this way. And near the bottom of the screen on these, you tend to lose more pixels too. I'm not sure why that is. But let's do this. Let's leave it something like that. Let's grab our whole character, and we're just going to grab them. We're going to cut them. We're going to paste them. And if you wanted them to be more skinny, more fat, now's the time, but we're also going to make them a little bit shorter so we're able to add our shoes. See how it looks? It's pretty good to me. This is like a little bit wide on the side, but I'm not going to take the time to adjust. You guys get the idea. And there we go. Okay, so we've made a basic character. Again, you're going to need more detail. You're going to want to leave some of these parts off to the side too, and the idea is that you're able to cut and paste and make this guy however you want to change him. His mouth's easy enough. There's a few different things we can do for now. Let's just do 2 for now. We're going to do this. It's a straight line. And again, you're probably going to want to use a little more detail when you do these. And we're going to do this. And we will thicken that up for it closes like that. Reason being is if you want to make 2 different versions of your character now. Sorry, let's make sure we grab the whole thing. Okay, and I'll show you in a minute why this is important. And then we'll go on to our next lessons. If you are enjoying this, come join us on our next one, where we are going to use Clipchamp to actually start making an animation. Again, it's going to be an example video, and you'll have to use your own talents to make the video, but I'll give you an idea of how you could do such a thing. All right, 1 open, 1 shut. Copy. Drag it over. Make sure it fits his face. Big dumb face. There we go. Something like that. All right, so we have our guy. We have him talking. We have him not talking, right? We can make some adjustments. We can make his face so there's not so much color around it. Make it a little more detailed. Take all the time you need to do that stuff. Again, I'm just going to give you an example. And then we are going to open a second 3D. Now, if you already have a background made, that's perfect. But if you don't, I'll quickly just throw something together to give you, an example of how we could add our character into a scene in one sense. So we're going to open, and we're going to, oh no, we're not. We're going to make a new one, right? So we're not going to make this one transparent because we need the background in this one. So we are just going to make a little scene here. I don't know, something to give our character something to be in front of, for you get the idea of how this might work depending on how you want to do it. Got that. Make a little sidewalk there. We'll give the sidewalk a little more detail. There we go. So let's give it some color. Oops. And there we go. That's a big rocky background. And here's a sidewalk, all right? Just give you an idea again. Okay, so there's 2 ways we could do this. And I'm just going to give you an example. You're going to have to probably add proportionate pieces like this down the sidewalk to give it more graphics, basically, in detail again. But we'll stop here. So there's 2 ways to do this. We can add our characters into here, and we can make still frames. We can save this at this point and make multiple versions of this where we place our character. Let's go look at that. and get an example. So we just copied it from the one. We're going to go back to the other, and we're going to place it. I'm going to shrink him to proportions, and we've entered our character into our scene. It could be that easy, and that's one way to do it. Let's grab the second one, and we can even multi-layer things into a picture. So if you're just making like an art picture or something, might be where you want to stop with the details. Let's copy it, not cut it. I almost made a mistake there. Always want to copy and not cut. And again, we can just go paste. And when we're multi-layering, as you can see, we can put one in front of the other and just make it more of a detailed picture in that sense, where you can see the different layering and things like that. But what I would probably recommend not doing it this way and taking a little more time to do your background, obviously, and adding all the different shapes and styles that you want, and then saving it separately. And I really like the spray paint in this one. Look at these nice fluffy clouds. You can just paint them all day and all your problems go away with the clouds. I'm just kidding. But I do like the clouds, and it's really easy to use a spray paint in this to add some detail to different things. You know, you can add some dirt along the path here. It can make things look a little bit sloppy if you're not sure what you're doing. Take your time, adjust the thickness so you can add the details that you want into your design, and not add the details you don't want. Remember, there's always an undo button. There's always a redo button. So change your mind as much as you want. Design your art the way you want it, and don't let anything stop you. I hope you guys will join me next time. We're going to come back for another video where we're going to take our characters that we just made, and I'm going to save them under a name. I'm going to save the background under a name, and I'm going to show you how we can make a deeper version of an animation where we don't have to replace the background constantly, but actually just add more than one character. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. I hope you join me next time. Make sure to thumbs up if you did like the video and if it did help you. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.